Hello, and it's good to have you join us again on Maritime Radar. The port plays a key role in connecting nations, trades, and economies. This has a profound impact on trade volume and transport cost. However, the sector is confronted with many challenges such as new standards and modernization to achieve international best practices, especially in the areas of security, safety, environmental management, port operations and services, the ever-evolving and changes in information technology, inter- and intra-regional computation, the ever-increasing size of ships, cargo handling equipment, and traffic growth, amongst others. Africa must have the ability to cope with such rapidly advancing realities in order to benefit from the trade opportunities. Repositioning the shipping industry to embrace trade balance are some of the issues that will be on the front burner on today's show. I'm Norma Obiaswalo. Nigerian ports are grappling with critical challenges that demand swift and effective solutions, from crumbling infrastructure, including dilapidated roads, outdated rail systems, worn quays, and inadequate equipment to security lapses, pilferage, and persistent delays in cargo clearance. The situation is dire. Beyond infrastructure, major ports like Apapa and Tinkan in Lagos also suffer from severe truck congestion, widespread extortion, and other corrupt practices. Decline in cargo's inefficiency that has caused long days for cargo clearance. All these further stifle port operations. Therefore, there is an urgent need to turn to technology and digitalization, and this has become very imperative. To survive, we must embrace the new normal to ensure efficient port and shipping operations. Before we get further into today's lineup on the program, let's find out the latest in Maritime news.
A bill to establish the Nigerian Coastal Guard has passed second reading in the Senate, marking significant progress towards bolstering maritime security in the country. Senator Wasiu Eshilokun, the bill's sponsor, outlined its core objectives, emphasizing the need to create a dedicated Nigerian Coastal Guard responsible for securing Nigeria's maritime zones. He explained that the Coast Guard would act as a specialized support service to the Nigerian Navy, particularly during wartime, enhancing the country's overall defense capabilities. The proposed legislation aims to safeguard Nigeria's maritime interests and uphold regional coastal security by aligning with international standards and norms for maritime security. Eshilokun added that the Coast Guard would enforce relevant laws within Nigeria's maritime zones, helping to preserve lives and property. Deputy Senate President Jibrin Barau, who presided over the plenary, endorsed the bill's intent to protect Nigeria's territorial waters and ensure national defense remains robust. He referred the bill to the Senate Committee on Maritime Transport for further review and requested a report within 4 weeks. The United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations has reported that 2 merchant ships sustained damage in the Red Sea following missiles and drone attacks. The incident highlights ongoing risks for commercial vessels in the region. These attacks come after a 2-week period of relative calm for merchant vessels in the area. Houthi forces recently claimed responsibility for a complex attack involving over 20 ballistic, drone, and cruise missiles targeted at 3 U.S. Navy ships. However, the U.S. military stated that no missiles hit its vessels, as they were able to intercept and neutralize the threats. Additionally, a significant environmental disaster was averted in the Red Sea last month when the tanker Sonian, which was set ablaze and adrift following Houthi attacks, was towed to safety under the escort of UNE-4 vessels. The tanker was carrying 150,000 tons of oil, raising concerns about a potential spill that were ultimately avoided. These incidents underscore the volatile situation for maritime traffic in the Red Sea, with ongoing risks posed by missile and drone attacks in the region.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Maritime Radar. The blue economy experts are of the view that maritime industry lacks proper regulatory frameworks to drive Nigeria's ocean resources for economic development, but harnessing its various aspects is Africa's ticket to economic prosperity. Our guest this week is a Nigerian administrator and doyen of the maritime industry at Adebayo Sarumi. He is the former managing director of the Nigerian Ports Authority and Nigerian Shippers Council. He is also chairman, Mission to Seafarers Nigerian chapter. He speaks on the key elements of port reforms, being a shipping nation by owning a national fleet, the role of infrastructure, planning and export to drive a vibrant marine and blue economy ministry. Stay with us. So it's good to have you on the show, and I think it's also in place to say a happy 80th belated birthday to you. Thank you for granting us time to talk to you on the show.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me, as they say.
Okay, so let's start this conversation looking at the maritime industry in the area of potential of the industry, and how do you think we can best harness the opportunities it offers?
Once again, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on your widely consulted outfit. Maritime industry keeps changing. The focus used to be just only when the ship and shore meet. But from the scheme of things now, not only internationally, but also even within Nigeria, we're now talking of deep blue economy in addition to the marine. Deep blue economy simply means all the opportunities, all the issues that you can tap to increase your economy between your shore and your international waters, as defined by the United Nations, which simply means that you have the opportunity now to go deep into the sea and explore the various opportunities that do arise. That's simply increasing the boundary of your country, and I believe that Nigeria is also taking advantage of that. With 850 kilometers of waterfront, that's a huge, huge, huge opportunity that Nigeria has there. I'm unable to tell you where it is going to go. I guess the country itself will be the one that's going to tell all of us, their citizens, what are going to be in there for us. And I'm waiting for the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy to advertise, encourage people to know a lot more, come out and speak to what are the potentials that we're expecting. It is only when we get that we will be able to know how huge it is going to be compared with all other industrial sectors of the country. I'm unable to say anything concerning that. I hear it's going to take place. There's a lot of ceremony right from the last administration. This administration has even gone one step further and create a ministry for that purpose. It is time to come and tell Nigerians what are the things you hope to get in the blue economy. And if it's going to be done, let it be done in such a way that everybody can understand and have a buy-in into it. That is my approach to it. I hope that when we get into that, we will solve the problem of that cross something, because I was very close to getting government to establish fishing terminals the way it should be done. By then, we were going to improvise. To start it, we were going to improvise. If you go a little into the waters within Lagos towards Kirikiri side, there was going to be something like that. But after I left office, I don't know, I haven't seen anything take place there. And I'm not so sure that I'm aware of any major fishing terminal in Nigeria today.
Okay, the Marine and Blue Economy Ministry seem to encompass all this because at the core of it is developing the ocean resources. So with this experience that you have, so how do you think the Marine and Blue Economy, if you are to advise, can begin to explore the opportunities of our ocean resources for development?
Yeah, sure. That can be done. Just solve the problems of agencies crossing each other along their path.
Because with blue economy, you see that Greek.
I quite understand that. Even when you change the names of the agencies, we're not talking about the agencies now, but merely changing the names of the agencies will let some know that you are dropping your business for this particular agency to take care of. That's all I'm calling attention to. I don't mean to create any sort of situation. Yes. And besides, a lot of water has passed under the bridge. And I believe that in coming out to this blue economy, just like you rightly said, somebody is already taking note of someone having to drop what used to be his business for another fellow. I think it is very important to do that. And also, of course, the issue of security also comes in, but I'm not going to talk concerning that now, because I believe that the Ministry of Defense, through the Navy, quite understand that they're to give the cover for us to be able to exploit the resources that we are going to have there. I think we should leave it at that.
Do you also see the challenge of infrastructure to also drive this?
Of course. Those are some of the reasons that they are. And besides, the way Africa has been structured, everybody likes going back to what it is when they were colonies. But have we actually changed anything since we were colonies? And what do we also have? Most countries of the world, even those who don't produce anything of their own. I studied in Japan for quite a long time, and I knew that 3/4 of what Japan produces today, the raw material comes from outside Japan. And by the time they add value to those materials, by the time they export them, it assists their in other words, the import. You may not necessarily get all that you're expecting from the import, but remember, by the time you refine the import and you are sending them out, you are adding value to it. So even if import does not mean too much for you, the export, you get the gain from it. So we also got to look at it from the point of view. Of course, you are right to say infrastructure is all part of it. Policy is all part of it. Our own attitude to consumption is also part of it. You have a taste to consume what you don't produce. It's all part of it. If Nigerians have had wonderful taste for apple, if apple is to stop today, will they die? May the apple producers, please pardon me, will they die? They won't die. But if they can also, when the ship is going out, let it take something to also give it back to the something. If it is your cocoa, you are going to give back, that's going to, even if it is your cocoa in the raw phase.
We are due for a break. When we return, we'll be looking at the impact of Nigeria's indigenous shipping on regional trade. That will be after this short break. Please stay with us.
Africa needs its own storytellers, people who understand the continent because they're from it. People who know that news is more than just a conversation starter, it's our stories. Because these stories run deeper than headlines and segments. It's about digging deeper to get the facts and telling the human side of every single story, not just the echoes from foreign headlines and perspectives. It's time to take back our narratives and share them in our voices. The birth of Africa's New Age reporting, and this is where it begins, right here at News Central TV, with stories that put Africa first.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Maritime Radio, and I still have with me Adebaya Sarumi. He's the doyen of the maritime industry. He's also the former managing directors of Nigerian Ports Authority and Nigerian Shippers Council. Before we went on that break, I said we'll be looking at the impact our indigenous shipping have made in terms of regional trade, away from crude lifting?
Yeah, I don't want to sound either grumpy, because that's made to understand that is the prerogative of old people. But at the same time, I'm not at the same time saying that we're not having impact as such. But to what extent the issue is, to what extent is the local shipping or even regional shipping being encouraged? By regional shipping, you are talking of, by regional, I'm thinking of, just say, latitude 23 north, latitude 23 south, let's say the tropics. Even if it's only the tropics, that's one region. Even you can take the whole of Africa as another region. There is very little exchange of anything between ourselves within that region.
Even with AFTA?
Even with AFTA, even the AFTA that we're talking about, I'm still to see what we sell or buy from each other. Our co-focus continues to be with our former trading partners who are our former colonial masters. It is still there, and I don't know how we are going to be able to get it, try to at least win ourselves of the influences of these former colonial masters. And in any case, the way Africa is within the entire world now, Africa is structured just to continue to be a raw materials garden from where you pluck what you are going to process as much as possible and prevent everybody from even adding value to what they are seeing, like we said earlier on. So if you don't have what to carry, why ship? A ship is made to carry cargo or carry human beings if we were actually really doing business with each other. Take for example, who says that there cannot be a short sea cruise vessel among ourselves? I used to go those days to places like Dakar, go to places like Gambia, Bathurst, places like, what says that we can have a cruise, a short sea cruise vessel to go to such places. And of course, even come down south, up to Angola or even up to South Africa. And we go on holidays to those places, even though we call ourselves African Union. How many of us ever think that a good holiday can be in any of those countries that I have just mentioned?
So how can we achieve this? Because you find that, okay,
that's what I'm telling you, that it is a regional issue among themselves. If African, even start with ECOWAS. If you are able to start that with ECOWAS, I love to go, those days I love to go to Bathurst a lot. I even had a room in Kairaba they call the hotel. I used to love going there a lot, but I used to go by air. And I kept asking myself, when am I going to ever go by sea? They had a very good tourist facility there. Ghana also has very good tourist facility. Cote d'Ivoire has some good tourist facilities. Nigeria is developing exactly the same thing. Why can't we also? What I'm just saying is that don't look at regional shipping from the point of view of only cargo.
Cargoes.
Because we are
so many things, other things
we are producing virtually everything ourselves. I mean, in terms of latitudinal belts. When you talk of latitudinal belts, you can't produce anything different. If you are within the same latitude, you are producing the same latitude because the weather goes north and south. Even the earth tilts both north and south. So there's very little that is likely to change. But what can also change is this issue of, even if you start with a medium-sized cruise ship, that is something. I would love to have, everybody has been telling me how wonderful whatever is happening in Rwanda is. I would love to go by sea to Rwanda. Not go to by air. I want to go by sea to Rwanda. Who knows, maybe I could have a few stays in intermediate ports between Lagos and Rwanda. As the case may be, maybe spend one night When I get to Cameroons, go to Douala, stay 1 or 2 nights, see what is happening in there, and then come out again, you get into something again. That if you encourage it today. But then, if it's going to be encouraged, it is a regional issue, and I believe that the issue is still to be solved by regional authorities the way they are constituted. ECOWAS for West Africa, African Union for the whole of Africa. Let's start with ourselves. Then Nigerians can put into that, things like that. If we are able to now raise money to buy planes, who says that we cannot raise money to buy cruise vessels? Intermediate cruise vessels, not the huge Queen Mary or the huge Royal something, Cunard and the rest of it. No, not something as huge as that. If we leave it at that, and we are able to also encourage these boys to go for final trainings wherever they are going to be able to get them, not necessarily by turning the place to a maritime university. This business of seafaring is not about your degree, it's about your professionalism. And I dare say this one, this issue had reached me to say, people came down to me and told me, do I know that even Maritime Academy, some local people are trying to turn into Maritime University? I said, maybe, pardon them, they don't know what they are doing. Because it's almost like saying you want to produce air pilots at Ahmadu Bello University or University of Ibadan. You are just wasting your time. They are not produced there. They are produced in aviation colleges. Aviation colleges. Some of them, the curriculum is even beyond a master's degree. Some of them, even the curriculum could even go beyond a PhD in terms of volume and content. But they don't call them PhD or masters or BSc. So no, they don't call them that. So the sooner the government pays more attention to encourage Maritime Academy, Horon, as well as a number of jackins in Port Harcourt. I use that only as an example. And I'm not by this advertising for any group of people, but there are some local training outfits that are also teaching our boys the professional side of it. If all this can be encouraged and then something is done a little more. I'm not talking in terms of the amount of anybody coming to tell me with some agencies telling me, oh, we train this number of seafarers, we send them to Japan and the rest of it. Where are they? How many are they? And where are they working?
Okay, before I let you go, talk to us briefly on how we can achieve sustainability in the maritime industry.
The sustainability in maritime industry can be achieved by, first and foremost, mapping a course for the future, making sure that that course is conversant with local situations and what the world demands, because maritime is about interaction with the world. I've told you, the sea here, the land here. So whatever, we can't do it by ourselves or not only on ourselves. What does the world demand from us, or what can we tap from the world? Even if the world is not beginning to demand something of us, what can we wrest from their control? Those are some of the things we've been talking about. And then how can we also ask for our right coming in from here to say it is our right to demand to something like this. And there are fora all over the whole place to wrest control as well as to demand for your rights. It is a question of policy and consistency on the part of the various governments. But what do I see? It wasn't, I didn't stay long in the maritime industry. I stayed only 38 years. But what I saw is policy somersault. Everybody has spoken about it, but who's been able to stop it? How consistent are we? If we're on the right path, how consistent are we on the right path? Various development plans, how much of following them are we doing? And when I say follow them, it's not just that they will be in the papers there, which are big files that are dusting up, but
Implementation.
being there. And nobody wants us to move. We are the ones that will have to move by ourselves. And particularly Nigeria, because it is a country that the whole world have their
eyes on
to tap something out of them.
No one gives anyone anything free, so you must wrestle for it. We've been talking to a maritime doyen, Adebayo Sarumi. He is the former Managing Director, Nigerian Port Authority and Nigerian Shippers Council. He is also the Chairman, Mission to Seafarers, Nigerian Chapter. It's been a honor talking to you. Sir, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your thoughts. Thank you for the insights you've given to us on the show. Amarimba.
That's good. Thank you very much. I thank you very much indeed. This is simply wonderful, and I wish your outfit the very best. You've been operating international communities. You will even operate a lot more. So much so that the viewers will keep looking out for.
Amen.
Every time your issues are, your products are being aired.
Amen.
Congratulations. And
Amen.
I do appreciate the depth of what we've been able to discuss today. You just sent me back so many years. I thought I've forgotten about the industry.
You see, I told you.
Thank you very much for letting me
so much.
come back.
And that's a wrap on this week's episode. Join us every week on Maritime Radar as we explore how Africa can unlock the latent potential of its maritime industry and its connected sectors. You can also expect the latest in global and local maritime news and industry insights right here. I'm Norma Obiaswala. Many thanks for your time and see you again next week.